right, we are going to get started. I want to respect, and the counseling department wants to respect everybody's time. The month of September has kicked all of our butts. So, I am Robin Weiss. I am one of the counselors at Berkley High School. I work with students' last names E through K. Mr. Beebe over here works with students' last names A through D. Hillary Ty, S through Z. Christina Belsky, who is meeting with a parent but will be in here momentarily, L through R. And Sharon Burke, who is our Career Center and transition coordinator as well. The objective of tonight is not to overwhelm anybody in any way, shape, or form. This is a really very exciting time. Who here has had a student already graduate from Berkley High School and go off to do things in the world? Okay. Who here this is their first child going through graduation and the college application process? Okay. We can all support each other. The parents who've already had a student graduate and who have children out in the world survived and they're back for more. So that's a good sign. You are going to hear from, this is how the outline of the evening is going to go. We are going to do our best to stick within this schedule. There will be time at the end of the presentations for you guys to ask questions in smaller groups of your child's counselor. I'm going to hand it over in a moment to Jessica Samvit, who is the senior class sponsor, as well as our senior all-night party representatives, and somebody here to talk about cap and gowns. Everything that these three people say, in addition to what here's Christina Belsky. Here she is. In addition to what we share about college and the next steps in your child's lives, is all going to be very expensive. There's going to be lots of dollar signs attached to almost everything your senior is going to do this school year, and we know in general that can be very, very overwhelming. The counseling department is here to tell you that your child should not be prevented from doing anything that is of a milestone this school year, whether it's senior all-night party, going to prom, applying to college, retaking their ACT or SAT. If in any way, shape, or form you need financial assistance, please reach out to your child's counselor and we can figure out a way to assist you during all of this. Right now, I'm going to hand it over to Jessica Samvit.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Samvit. I am one of the senior class advisors along with Becky Flood, who can't be here tonight because she has a volleyball game. So the little green sheet that you picked up, that was courtesy of me, and it just kind of summarizes all the things, the important dates that will be going on throughout the school year. So, take a picture of it so it's in your phone or put some of these dates in your calendar, the things that are coming up. The things that are coming up just within the next few weeks that are important is homecoming. So on the day of homecoming, the homecoming game, we have the senior group picture in the morning that everybody is welcome to participate in, and then the senior breakfast, which is $10, and tickets for that will go on sale next week, and they can be purchased from either me or Miss Flood. And then after that, what's coming up, a big thing is cap and gown orders, and Mr. Cass from Balfour is here to talk to you about that. But please make sure you put these dates in your calendar. We use remind texts to send reminders on things, and if you look at the top of your sheet, there's a way to sign up to receive those text messages, and then also the counseling center sends emails and things like that. But I just want to introduce myself, kind of put a face with a name, that sometimes you'll receive emails from me with just information, so I just wanted to introduce myself, and then here's Mr. Cass to talk more to you about cap and gown orders.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mine's really short and brief. You need to order a cap and gown, that's it. No, I'm kidding. Cap and gown measurements are located on that little green, yellow form. These are the official dates and the only dates that we'll be here for cap and gown measurements here at school. You can see we're going to have 3 opportunities, basically the 2 parent-teacher conferences nights, and then we will also be here on the 11th at lunchtime. So if you want to put it in your seniors' hands to take care of business and do it at lunchtime, that would be the time to do it. If you want to handle it yourself, we'll have plenty of opportunity here at parent-teacher conferences, between your conferences, to come up and order. Now, what do you have to do and how do you order? Well, in about a week, your son or daughter is going to bring a packet that looks like this home. And inside here is, we just talked a little bit about how your senior year, it's kind of been a free education up till now. Well, there's a lot of different, right? There's a lot of different things, all optional, just so you know, but there's a lot of different opportunities if you'd want to order some senior products, from senior t-shirts to hoodies to class rings to cap and gown to graduation announcements to all of the different items that are available. It'll all be in this packet of information. Your senior will be handed this in their English class, I think, next week. So make sure if you don't see this prior to the 11th and 12th of October, that you ask your son or daughter, please bring, especially the boys. Girls, no problem. Guys, if you have a son, you'll know what I'm talking about. Make sure he brings this home to you so that you can fill out the form. There is a cap and gown measurement form inside. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy to maneuver and go through. There is payment due at the time. The cap and gown is $30. Again, there's other things if you want to order other things. But again, look for this packet of information. Fill out the form, have your son or daughter bring it back, or you can bring it back yourself on parent-teacher conferences. And our goal is to get everything ordered and in by the end of October, beginning of November, so then you won't have to see me again until the end of the year when we deliver the caps and gowns. So that's the goal. Okay? If you have any questions when you receive this packet, our phone number is all over this. We're actually on Rochester Road between 14 and 15 Mile in Troy, so we're not very far from here. So if you have any needs that you need to come and see us at our location, you can do that too. So thank you very much.
All right, our senior all-night party representatives are here, and I'm going to pull up their information. Let's see if it works. Oh, there is noise. Nice job.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Jody Krasnick. Barry Frankel and I are co-chairing the Senior All-Night Party this year. I think this is my 5th or 6th year chairing. I took 2 years off and did some other things with the Senior All-Night Party. And now I have a junior, and so Barry and I have decided, and as does Barry, so we are chairing it for the next 2 years. I have 2 daughters that graduated from Berkley High. I got kind of hooked into Senior All-Night Party when my oldest was a junior, and it's such an amazing event for our seniors that I can't stop doing it. So, do you want to talk about you?
Sure. Hi, I'm Barry Frankel. My son is also a junior, and I got hooked into the Senior All-Night Party when Jody's daughter was a senior and mine was a freshman. So I started chairing it then along with Jody. So what that says to everybody is it doesn't really take your child being a senior to get involved, but if you haven't been involved yet, this is definitely the year to please get involved. If you have a junior, a sophomore, a freshman, please get involved now too, because as you'll see, we really need quite a few volunteers. Most of our chairs have juniors and seniors this year, and it won't continue to be much of a party as those people move on. So we look forward to sharing this with you.
By raise of hands, can people who know what the Senior All-Night Party is or have been involved in some way? Okay, great. Great. Okay, so some of this might be a little bit repetitive, but we're going to go through it quickly. And some of this may not have transferred from one computer to another, so if you see text all over the place, we apologize. There we go. Okay, what is the Senior All-Night Party? So on June 7th, your kids are going to graduate, and it sounds like it's really far away, but believe me, it's going to be here before you know it. Right after graduation, which ends maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're going to go home from the graduation ceremony, which is at Meadowbrook. The kids are going to change their clothes, they're going to get their supplies and bathing suit and towel, and they're going to come over to the gym. From 11 p.m. to 12 midnight is check-in. The kids are literally here from 11 to 4:30 a.m. We have so much going on that the time will fly. And it's really an amazing event because it's really the final celebration that the kids are all together. And it's a safe environment. You don't have to worry about your kids driving around, celebrating their graduation. A lot of schools that we know of have farmed out their senior all-night party, and we really here in Berkley have tried to maintain it as a homegrown school in our gym. And the kids, year after year, love it. The school, this party takes about 150 plus volunteers, from planning to the week of setting up, to the night of the party, baking, cooking, supplying drinks. There's all kinds of ways that you can get involved, helping with fundraisers. And throughout the year, you'll see all kinds of notices from us about ways that you can get involved. Okay, what is the party? So the party basically is a night of entertainment. There's all kinds of food. Typically the food is theme related if it lends itself for that. We have gambling, boxer bingo, dancing. There's henna, caricaturists, there's psychics, tattoo artists. One of the biggest hits of the night is the hypnotist. About 3 a.m., everybody comes into the main gym and we have a hypnotist, and it's really fun to watch all the kids some really go under and some act like they're going under. Sorry about this, but we have prizes raffled off all night. We have a great 2 chairs of prizes that have been doing it for many years, and they get amazing prizes like TVs and refrigerators and all kinds of great things that the kids can take with them wherever they're going after their senior year. And one of the oh yeah, both our chairs of prizes are senior parents, but they have some younger kids. And then one of the other things is you'll hear about throughout the year is we have a wishes wall that we decorate from the gym down to the hall to the other gym, and parents buy wishes and grandparents buy wishes, and the kids love to see all those nice notes as they've graduated. Some of the themes that we've had in years past have been, last year was the Wild West, Berkley Night at the Movies, we had a red carpet, Berkley World, like the theme after Disney World. We did a social media theme, we did a tailgate. So every year we come up with a new theme. We're gonna be having our kickoff meeting in October where we'll be coming up with a theme at that meeting. If anybody in the room would like to be on a planning committee, please let Barry or myself know, and we'll make sure we let you know about the meeting. It's not working? Ah, there we go.
So here's some pictures from previous parties. This was last year, the Wild West. We try to personalize it. The top right hand, you'll see a wanted poster for, I believe that was Mr. Gowell, and those are wishes around it that you purchased for your seniors. You probably got a mailing or will get a mailing soon about some of the different things that are going on and that you can start to think about for your seniors. These are all pictures from the wishes wall that go down the whole hallway. Here are some pictures from last year's party. The bottom picture with the stable, that's where the psychics were. You'll see a senior on the mechanical bull in the top right, and then some seniors right at the entrance. We always have a good photo op right at the entrance when they walk in. This was 2 years ago when it was the Berkley High School Night at the Movies, and it was like the red carpet. So you'll see a picture of the giant target there, some graduating seniors with the caricature, and then a logo from 2 years ago. This was more from the red carpet. So you see the dance floor on the upper right. We really transformed the gym. You wouldn't know that it's one of the gyms. We use both gyms. We use the hallway, and we use the pool. The setup begins early that week. The district is really generous and prepares one of the gyms for us to be used starting on Monday night. So if you want to participate, there are so many ways. You don't have to feel like you've never gotten involved before. It is a team of over 150 people throughout the year working on their own time It's not a lot of meetings, it's not a lot of commitment on your part to be part of a committee, and it really does, it's like the essence of it takes a village. You can volunteer, you can support the fundraisers, you can buy your students' ticket early, you can purchase your yard sign tonight, which I see some people have. Please encourage your students to attend, talk it up. If they haven't heard from previous graduates, it really is one of the best nights that they can possibly have as a memory from high school. Visit our Facebook page, like it, and it's the best way to keep your kids safe that night when it could be a big party night. So this is the way that you contact us, and we have some handouts if you'd like to take a way to contact us with you, since you won't be taking the PowerPoint. So we hope we'll see you sometime throughout this year, definitely at the senior all-night party. We try to call it the all-night party if it's juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, because we don't want people to think they can't get involved because they don't have a senior, but since you do, congratulations, enjoy this year. It's an awesome year filled with so many milestones, and we really do hope that you'll be part of this one.
One last thing, our treasurer, Tina Deeds, is outside, you probably saw. So if you're interested in saving $5, you can buy the bundle of your child's ticket and your sign up until January 1st and save $5. We also have a link online on the website if you want to do it that way. Okay, thanks so much. Oh, this will be on the back table too. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Jody, let me give you your flash drive. I need sounds as I'm transitioning to the new slide. All right. Before we go into our great breakout sessions and give you the locations of where we'll be breaking out, the counselors on Friday met with all of the seniors in their English classes. And this, while we understand this can be very stressful and overwhelming, we want you guys as a family, as your child's counselors, your students in general, to be really mindful of this process and how exciting it can be. Now, the counselors know lots of things for sure, but and we don't know a lot of things either, at least I don't, but some things that we have learned for sure over the course of the many years that we've been supporting students through this process is that it's going to be a really exciting, but it also can be a very stressful time. So these 4 things we shared with your student last week. We know for sure that perfection is an impossibility. We also know for sure that challenge and failure and disappointment is inevitable. We also know as parents that watching our children go through challenge or disappointment or failure is inevitably difficult. We also know that everything is temporary, and that means all of the good stuff too, all of the blessings and the joys and the things that we witness with our kids that are wonderful are absolutely outstanding, but we know that that doesn't last forever. We also know that, like I said before, watching our kids go through disappointment, it can be very, very difficult. For some, this process is going to be really simple. For some, it's going to be pretty stressful. But what we know for sure, and we should have written this one in all caps, and I believe it as like deep into my soul as I can possibly believe anything in this world, is that everything works out as it should. It doesn't always work out simply or easily, but your journey will take you where you are supposed to go, and it is a lesson that we have learned watching all of our students go through this process. It might not feel like it's going to work out, but we know for sure that it will, and we are here to support during this journey. So that is wisdom from the counseling department. Before we talk about all of the smaller details, which we are going to divide up to do so you can have a more intimate conversation with your child's counselor. Students' last names A through K, so that's me and Mr. Beebe. We will stay in here in the auditorium. Students L through R are going to go with Mrs. Belsky and Mrs. Ty to the Collaborative Center. Oh, yep, L through R, S through Z. L through Z, that should say. Mrs. Belsky and Mrs. Ty to the Collaborative Center. And families who want to have a more detailed conversation about options that don't necessarily include a 4-year college right away. So trade schools, 2-year colleges, other programming outside of that traditional 4-year college experience can go talk with Mrs. Burke in room 178, which is right outside these doors, the first classroom on your right. So in about 5 minutes, we'll get started, and now you guys can split off. Thank you. All right, Mr. Beebe will be back momentarily, but students' last name A through K, the best part of the alphabet. All right, just so you guys know, we're about to share a lot of smaller detail logistical information about how the college application process looks. I want you guys to be mindful that all of this information we shared in the same format with your students both at the end of May, again last week in their English classrooms, and we have been sharing with those students who have taken us up on our offer to come to our offices with a set-up time to go through all of this information one-on-one as it pertains to them specifically. So there are lots of ways that we will repeat this information between now and the end of this process, but we want to already up front let you guys know that if your student and you are struggling to communicate during this process, that if it becomes stressful in any way, please let us know. We can meet with you, we can meet with your child, we can talk through it over the phone, you can come in. We want you to use us as a resource. We break down the college application process in 3 large pieces of the puzzle. So there's the application itself, which can come in different forms depending on which schools students are applying. The transcript, which is sent officially through the counseling department through a program called Naviance Family Connection, which we will show you what that looks like. It's a very simple process, really. And then the third step is test scores. For those colleges and universities that require official ACT or SAT scores, those test scores are sent directly through the Testing Association, and we will show you what that looks like as well. When all 3 of these pieces have been completed, that is when your child then waits for a decision. And decisions come in many forms across many times throughout the fall and into next year. Okay, so we'll start with the first puzzle piece, the application itself. How do students apply? There are 3 main ways. Nuanced ways also exist in addition to this, but the 3 most common ways that we have students apply to college are directly to the institution. So for example, we know this because we've been doing this a while. Your student should at least be starting to know this or already know this because they've done a little bit of research in regards to their college list or where they want to apply. But every school has a different preference and way in which to apply. So, most likely your child will use 1, 2, or all 3 of these ways to submit their college applications and attack the application itself. I'll give you an example. Oakland University, Michigan State University, Wayne State, Western, Central, Eastern, Grand Valley. Those are just within the state of Michigan. All have applications directly through the institution themselves, Michigan State as well. So that means if I have a student who is applying to Grand Valley, Michigan State, and Oakland, they're going to 3 separate websites in 3 different places to do 3 different applications. Okay, so they'll have 3 logins, 1 for Oakland, 1 for Michigan State, and 1 for Grand Valley. And they will follow all of the application instructions that are specific to those colleges. The other main place that a student may apply is through what's called the Common Application. Common Application has hundreds and hundreds of member schools, both from the state of Michigan and outside of the state of Michigan, that participate and house their application on what's called the Common Application. And we'll show you just a brief example in a moment. But places like, I'm just going to use Michigan because that's the easiest point of reference, the University of Michigan and Kalamazoo both house their applications through what's called the Common Application. So they will have one Common Application account, and they will add those two specific colleges or more to their Common Application and do their applications through there. The final way is through on-site admissions, and I will show you the list of colleges that will be coming and visiting Berkley High School, and will hold admissions here in our Career Center, where students will meet face-to-face with a college admissions rep, and that college admissions rep from that specific school will give them an answer on the spot. The answer is usually yes, welcome, or we need a little bit more information, we want to see your grades second semester. We've not had a college admissions rep ever tell a child no during on-site admissions, so nobody walks away being denied from admissions to a college. They might not get their yes answer right away. We're going to have time at the end for questions, but if there is something that I am not being clear about, please raise your hand. Oops. I don't want to do that. Oh, Mr. Beebe. Okay. No, now I know what I did. Okay, I'm not going to show you Oakland's website because the internet's not cooperating, but this would be an example of a separate destination a student would go to fill out the Oakland University application. Let's go to the next one. I will show you what the Common App looks like. Actually, I think there's a screenshot of the Common App, but we'll get there in a second. All right, so our on-site admissions schedule is right here. So Northern is coming next week. Then Oakland is coming October 2nd. Central, as you can read from up here. Eastern. Western was supposed to come today, but they rescheduled. And they'll be coming October 11th. Students sign up for an on-site admissions appointment outside of the Career Center, which is directly across from the Counseling Center. They sign up for a specific 10 or 15-minute slot. In advance of those meeting dates, at least 24 hours in advance, they should bring a hard copy of the application itself to Mrs. Downer or to their counselor. All of those schools, most all of those schools have a PDF application, a hard copy application that Mrs. Burke, our career coordinator, does have in the binder when they sign up for an on-site visit. And then they fill that out. They bring just the application itself, along with the application fee, a check for the application fee that's indicated on there. And then they meet with the admissions rep during their time, and they'll get a reminder about that. The on-site admissions is the only way that they don't have to do those final two steps. Their transcript and their test scores can be provided directly through us. It doesn't have to be official. We're sharing this with you not so you remember every single detail, although we will post this and an outline of the evening. All right, transcripts. Naviance Family Connection. Has anybody's child uttered these words to you, Naviance Family Connection? Nod, yes. Okay, good. I got to tell you, so this is our third year, Mr. Beebe, using Naviance. I really, really like Naviance. I have been able, this is what a Naviance account, and my student, Hannah Jacobs, gave me permission to project this on the screen prior to this evening. So this is what your child's family connection, you have a login too, but being able to do official things will happen only through your child's account. And this is what it looks like. And it's sort of the central organizational space for both you, your student, and us as counselors to know exactly where they're applying and what the status is of all of their applications. Naviance is not the application itself. Naviance is the middleman that controls the official transcript requests and all of the letters of recommendation, if that applies to the college in which your child is applying. It is the middleman and the organizational tool that talks to the applications. God knows how, but it does. It's really quite amazing. So my dear sweet Hannah, there's lots of things that you can do in Naviance, but for purposes of the application process, this colleges tab up here, it's a really good research tool as well, because you can do a lot of college research if you or your child is still struggling with a college list. And if I could scroll down, which I can't do without a mouse because I'm not terribly coordinated. There's this scholarships and money part 2 that is down here that has lots of outside scholarship information, plus every single scholarship that crosses the counseling department's desk. Any hard copies of anything we receive or emails all get listed in this scholarship list here. I'll show you what it looks like. So anything that comes across the counseling department's desk, Mrs. Belsky, who is our scholarship and financial aid extraordinaire, enters it in this list. And the list is always changing. So if you've looked at them all and you want to look at more, this is always being updated. Mrs. Belsky will sometimes send out specific ones and reminders for you guys to check it out. Okay. But for purposes of this part right now, Hannah is applying to these schools. And as you can see here, it's almost like a cheat sheet too. So Hannah and I met because she wasn't exactly sure how to do this. Another student of mine did this list when we were presenting in the classroom. Some kids can figure it out with no help or support at all. We want those to be our children always. So Hannah's list is also changing, so this is a working document as well, and she can add to this list. And this is where she requests her transcripts, and this is where she's going to request her letters of recommendation. And this is how she's going to keep track of everything here. So you can see this information screen will change based upon the stage in which she is in her applications. Okay? So you can tell from this list that she goes to 2 different places to apply to these schools. This CA here tells her, and when she added these colleges, this information is generated. So she knows that if she's applying to these schools, she's going to go to her Common App to fill out the actual application itself. And when she applies to Michigan State, it tells her that she's going to go directly to the institution. And I can click on Michigan State here and learn lots about Michigan State, if the internet will take me there. But there will be lots of statistics about Michigan State, lots of information about Michigan State, links to Michigan State's website, all that stuff here. So there's all of this different information about Michigan State, their admissions, their costs, their student life, lots of things here. Reminders of deadlines. So Mr. Beebe's going to talk about that, but a lot of the deadlines for these schools to have access to their institutional scholarships or merit scholarships, all of this happens this fall. Before November 1, before Halloween is a really good measure in what we've been telling your students. So we wanted you to just see what this looks like and how easy it is to use. And not all of those schools on Hannah's list required letters of recommendation, but it will tell you which one's due, and she knows that she needs one from a teacher, so she requests, and your child will request all of their letters of recommendation through this site, okay? Michigan State, for example, though, doesn't require or will not take letters of recommendation. Schools like Oakland, Western, Wayne, Eastern, Central, Grand Valley, none of those schools require letters of recommendation. Yes. They are, and we went through the etiquette of asking a teacher for a letter of recommendation. First, to be thoughtful about it, to ask a teacher that you had some sort of connection with, that you felt positive in their class, and for you to either shoot them a quick email or peek your head into their classroom and say, hey, Mr. Waldman, I need a letter of recommendation for U of M. Would you mind writing one for me? Mr. Waldman says, sure, absolutely, I would love to. They come to their Naviance account, and then they officially make this request. So this official part, after they've put some thought into it and touched base with their teacher in person, is important because this is the official way Mr. Waldman is going to send Hannah's letter. He does it through his Naviance account, and it magically connects to whatever applications are in her list that require them. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good question. So schools that require letters of recommendation, they for sure want one from some sort of academic teacher that they've had for an academic class here at Berkley High School. But there's coaches and clergy and people you've worked for and other people who can attest to how fabulous you are. So yes, you can request outside recommenders. If it's through the Common Application, there is a spot within the Common Application to do that. Once you're in the Common App, it will not allow you to request a Berkley High School teacher. It will direct you to Naviance automatically. But outside recommenders, yes, email addresses, names, and students can enter those other recommenders, and then they get a link to send their letter officially. Okay? All right. Yeah. If you haven't already used Naviance, we can send you a code, an initial code, and it will take you through the process pretty easily to do that. Yep, just shoot me, Mr. Beebe, an email and say, hey, can I get my Naviance code? And we will send it right back to you. All right, Mr. Beebe. Oh. Yeah. Your kids already have an account. All of our seniors have an account. So me and Mr. Beebe know. We can tell who hasn't logged in, and there are no seniors who have never once logged into Naviance. So that is different. Yours will be separate. If you are logged in as your child, that would be the only way you could request transcripts, and that's the only way you could request letters of recommendation. Parents don't have that access. But if you are sitting with your child and your child is logged in, you guys can certainly do it together. Scholarships, college research, you can see when we've sent the transcripts because it changes. Like you can see all of it. You can't just do the specific student requests when it comes to letters and transcripts. There was another hand. Okay, perfect. So this is the third piece of the puzzle. Oh, yes. That's a good question. And so the question, if you didn't hear it in the back, was how does Naviance tie to the student's application if they apply directly to the school? So Naviance, I don't know exactly how it works, but let's say somebody applied to Oakland University. They've submitted their Oakland University application. Then they go onto their Naviance account and request for Mrs. Weiss to send their official transcript. I hit the send button to Oakland University within the program, and it all connects in Oakland University's system. And it doesn't all have to be done at the same time. Like I could, if your child did not apply to Oakland University yet, but they're planning to, I could send their transcript tomorrow morning, and then when they submit their application, it all ends up in the same queue in Oakland's system. It's really quite amazing. I don't know how it works. The computer scientists in the room may better understand it than I. So the third and final piece of the puzzle is sending of the test scores. Now, aside from the on-site admissions, all of the colleges require an official test score directly from College Board, which oversees the SAT, or ACT, if your child took the ACT. A lot of the applications ask for self-reporting, like when did you take the SAT and what was your highest composite? That, while they can answer it, does not count as their official SAT or ACT score. They must come directly through the testing institution themselves. I have helped a couple of students, and I know Mr. Beebe has helped a couple of students who needed to navigate that and check and see if the schools already had their scores. Through the testing websites, we can do that. So you can log into your ACT account, view your ACT score, and see if you had already signed up automatically for those schools to have received them when your child tested. Every opportunity that when a student takes the test, they have 4 free spaces to automatically send their scores to the colleges that are on their list at that moment in time. That list is always changing. They might not have taken advantage of it, so it might be necessary to go back and do it officially, at least double check. Because an application will be submitted, transcripts will be sent, and if test scores aren't officially received in advance of that early deadline, your application is not complete. 3 years ago, I had a student who desperately wanted to go to the University of Michigan. He did his application, we sent his transcript, his letters of recommendation, like all of it was in. And then he said, oh, I swear I sent my ACT score. And we looked, and he didn't, and it was October 29th. And that score does not get there in 2 days from ACT or SAT. So this is a very important step to do well in advance of completing your applications. This October 10th should be like the latest. That's even cutting it a little close. October 5th, you guys should make sure that your ACT or SAT scores have been sent. Now, some students might be retaking the ACT or SAT, and that is fine. They should automatically send those scores to the schools that they're feeling strongly about. They need to send an official score, an old official score, if that college or university is at the top of their list, regardless of what that score was. If they do better the second time, they're going to use the better score. We have heard it over and over again, from the University of Michigan to Kalamazoo to UChicago was here today. They want to see test scores. You are not penalized if you have one lower score officially on record and one higher score. They will only look at the highest score officially on record. Yes? Yep. Yes, so we in the counseling office have record of the scores. For on-site admissions only, they will take those scores, a copy of those scores from us. Okay? So if they're signed up for the Grand Valley on-site, and Grand Valley doesn't officially have their test score, but the on-site they're signed up for, Mrs. Downer, our counseling secretary, can make a copy of that test score, and she will attach it to their application that this person who is meeting with them will have in front of them. That counts as an official score for the on-sites only. Okay? Yes. It does automatically go. If they signed up for that school, they listed that code, when they signed up to take it, it automatically goes. You don't have to do this, but you should check this. You should check this. Because we've checked with students all week. I know, Mrs. Weiss, I sent it to Michigan State. They have my score. Okay, show me. And then we log into their College Board account, and we pull it up, and then we can see sent to Michigan State, fulfilled. We can see it. Yes. For the on-sites, that's something you guys can do at home together. If it's a PDF or a paper application. Some students also do the application online and then print a copy of it. Instead of paying for it online, they bring a copy. Okay? But remember, those on-sites are only for Western, Oakland, Grand Valley. Yeah, whatever was on that list. Okay, 2 more questions. Yes. Yes. They take more money from you. You can send to as many schools as you want to. It's $12 per score report per school. Okay? So some kids were paranoid when they took their ACT back in June or their SAT back in April and it was their best score and they didn't send it anywhere, and then we have to send it to 5 schools. It's $12, $13 per score report per school. That's when the financial stuff becomes stressful, so please let us know. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Beebe. Oh, hi. You guys are sitting so far away from us that we can barely see you. Then they need to log back into their account where they view their scores electronically, and there will be a send your scores option when they log in. Yes. It can be done afterwards, but if they're taking it this late in their senior year, when they sign up to retake it, they should automatically send, regardless of trying to predict what their score is, they should automatically send it to those colleges so you don't waste any time. Okay? All right, we already went over recommendations.
Okay, and so I'm going to talk about how do you pay for all of this, right? Anybody thinking about that? I've got 2 kids. I've got both kids that are out of state. And so the question that came to my house is, how in the world are we going to pay for this? So the first thing that you've got to do and you want to do is fill out your FAFSA forms. And for some of you who have already had kids go through it, you're familiar with FAFSA. And basically FAFSA allows you to get access to federal loans as well as federal grant monies. So most schools, all schools, want you to at least fill out your FAFSA. So the beauty of the FAFSA process now, probably a couple years ago, that process would start in January. And so what would happen is January 1st, you could start the forms, but you wouldn't have your W-2 forms until, for some of us, until the 25th of January, the 30th of January. Now, the way it's set up so that you can go ahead right at October 1st and start that FAFSA process. So definitely right at the start of October, you want to go ahead and start off by doing your FAFSA forms. And in most cases, the students can start that process as well. And then also, is it October 5th? That's when we're going to have our speaker? Yep. October 5th, we will have a speaker that will come in and we'll have a financial aid night. And they'll talk to you all about that process, about filling out the application, the details of it. And so we bring in an expert to talk to you about that because many of us have different situations. Maybe you're dealing with a divorce. You're dealing with, a death of a loved one. And so for you, your FAFSA may be a little bit different. Everybody's situation is a little bit different. One of the main things that I like to talk to students about, as well as parents, when we talk about monies for college, the scholarship process can be daunting. When you look at the many different scholarships out there, how do I apply? Where do I start? And so earlier, oh, don't worry about it, I'm good. Earlier, we had the Naviance list that we showed. And basically that lists, once again, all of the scholarships that come through Berkeley High School. And so, number one, you want to start there in terms of checking for scholarships. And we have so many scholarships where nobody applied or one person applied. So one thing that you want to do is be very aggressive about the scholarship process. So number one, once again, you're checking that Naviance site that has the list of scholarships. If the computer comes back up, there are also national sites. Sites called, one of them called fastweb.com, F-A-S-T web.com. Those are national sites. Also, I'll give you another one, CAPEX, C-A-P-P-E-X, CAPEX.com. And these are national scholarship sites. These are where you're going to find the scholarships, Coca-Cola, you'll find Got Milk, some of the larger scholarships. So they may be more competitive, but once again, you never know until you go out there, until you try, until you go after it. And then also, for many of you all, your jobs offer scholarships. There are scholarships through your church, through your synagogue. So you definitely want to be aggressive, pounding the pavement, and asking about these scholarships. And then lastly, I would add that we have within in-house our local scholarships. And the way the local scholarships work is basically those are scholarships that comes through different foundations at the school. Okay, thank you so much. They are different scholarships that come through the school, and basically students can sign up and participate in that process, and there's a voting process, and students basically are able to win scholarships. So once again, you've got local scholarships, you've got scholarship sites like fastweb.com, I mentioned CAPEX, C-A-P-P-E-X.com, another couple sites, schoolsoup.com, and also scholarships.com, your larger scholarships. And then once again, those scholarships coming through our office on the Naviance site. So definitely it's really about being tenacious. One thing that my daughter did is that we set aside an hour to an hour and a half every week where she searched out scholarships. An hour to an hour and a half. It's really not a lot. But within that, we were able to gain a good amount of money. And when you think about it, a lot of times students will see, oh, it's only $250 or it's only $500. But if you get enough of them, it will add up and it will knock a nice chunk off of the price of tuition that you have to pay for. Another thing when we talk about scholarships and finances, a lot of times parents, students, everybody's intimidated by the term out of state. Oh, it's an out-of-state college. Oh, I know I can't afford that. I know it's too high. A lot of times it depends on the schools that you're looking at. The University of Toledo matches in-state tuition for Michigan students. And there's so many schools that will match that tuition. Or a lot of your private institutions offer lots of money. And so in some cases, it will come out to the same expense that you would have incurred if you went to Eastern or if you went to Michigan. You had your hand up? Yes. Sure. That's a great question. For those, I don't know if you all heard that, but for basically it was about the essays. Can you use the same essay? It really depends because some ask very specific questions. You know, this one might be asking about diversity. This one might be asking you to give a personal statement. But, you know, with my daughter in particular, we probably had about 3 essays, and we were able to kind of adjust those essays depending on the scholarships that came in. Okay, all right. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, this is off too. Oh, man. Yeah, it went away. Right. Okay, thank you. So we'll send out a presentation that basically deals with, you know, give you the outline of what we've done and what we're talking about. Thank you. Okay. So once again, we have our FAFSA completion workshop. That's going to be on October 5th at 6 p.m. October 5th at 6 p.m. And then on the backside of the financial aid process, because once you apply to the schools, you're accepted, and then you get basically a financial award letter or an award package. We're going to help you break that down in February 27th at 6 p.m. We have a FAFSA award letter workshop where we'll walk through that process with you and help you to get a full understanding of and help you try to make that decision, a financial decision for you. Okay. All right. So once again, as we go through the process, and I'm going to go ahead and take questions from you in a minute, but we want to talk about that process of applying, making sure that your son or daughter is doing everything that they need to do as it relates to applying, getting onto Naviance. If you have any questions, meeting with the counselors, we're here to help them, and we know that Naviance product back and forth like the back of our hand. So if you need any help with that, definitely we're here to help you, and we can help make this process really, really smooth for you. So at this point in time, are there any other questions about scholarships, about Naviance, about anything as it relates to the presentation? Right. Sure. Right. Great question. For some of those sites that I listed, like CapEx and FastWeb, the process of applying is very similar to what you're talking about, because basically the student is going to fill out a basic questionnaire, about their race, about, their grades and all that kind of stuff. And then that website is going to generate a list of scholarships that are applicable to the student, okay? But also, of course, we see certain scholarships. We know that if somebody's playing the oboe and then we see an oboe scholarship, definitely we will call the student down and say, hey, this looks like something for you. But once again, with 300 and something students, it gets a little tough to hit every student. Yes. Okay, I'm glad you asked. I want to clarify. The local scholarships, it will be it'll probably right around January, there's going to be a link that will come out on the website, and students will see that they're able to apply for the local scholarship. And basically, it's a Google form where they're going to put in their name and information, and their name will go into a pool, as well as information about them in regards to their major. It may ask a question a little bit about the family's financial situation. And so from that local scholarship, probably around March or April, that's when the process of seeing who wins those scholarships will take place. So to answer your question, basically it's a link that will come out in January for the Berkeley High School local scholarships. No, it's going to be a link on the Berkeley website, and it'll also be on the counseling website. Yep. Right, yep. And we'll send out a Skyward email alert, and you'll get that information as well. Yes. Well, they can start the process of looking for them even now. I know right now is a really busy time, though, in terms of actually applying. That's where that November 1st deadline is also helpful, because it's going to help you, kind of clear your plate. It's good to, by November 1st, you've applied to all of the places that you hope to go, so you're not doing schoolwork, applications, and scholarship. So hopefully, once again, they want to be aggressive in getting their applications in, and that's going to help within the process. And also, Ms. Weiss touched upon it, a lot of these schools have scholarships, when they apply, they're automatically put into a pool of scholarships. And so, but those scholarships have deadlines, so once again, the earlier they apply, the better, and they're going to meet those deadlines for scholarship. Okay. All right, any other questions? I hear crickets. Oh, there we go. Yes. No, no. Once again, if it's an on-site, we're going to basically supply that transcript and the test scores, and the schools have agreed to, to accept the information that we provide for them as official. So no, there's no more cost. They do have to pay an application fee in some cases, most cases. So, but in terms of test scores, no. Also, if as Ms. Weiss touched upon a little bit, if there's any financial issues, we have fee waivers. In most cases, if someone is on free or reduced lunch, or if there's a financial need that you all can let us know about, we have fee waivers for applications. We have fee waivers for test scores. We have fee waivers to help folks out. So whatever the situation is, we definitely want to help. Even as far as talking about like the senior all-night party, if you let us know, we're going to communicate with that committee and help out as much as possible. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Questions about Naviance, the process, scores? All right. Well, thank you all. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have a question. Yes. Mm-hmm. Correct. There will be a link that they can click on for those scholarships. Yep. For those scholarships, in most cases, when they click on it, it's probably going to, similar to like the application, it's going to take them to like a website that they will operate from. It's not necessarily, that website may not be operating directly through Naviance. So whatever the information is, they'll have to upload to that site. But with it being on our Naviance site, that's how they get to that information. Okay? Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, it should be. In most cases, it takes probably about 10 days, 10 to 15 days to get scores back. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, well, once again, we'll be here for a little bit, but we thank you all for coming on tonight. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call, make an appointment, and thank you for coming.